I'm preaching on the Christmas demon.
Whoa. Man.
The Christmas demon. You ain't going to want to miss it.
I didn't know we believed that stuff at Columbine United Church.
You're going to find
there
out.
You go.
The Christmas demon.
By the 10 o'clock service, it ought to be a pretty good service.
The 4 o'clock service is our family service. It is what I call the barnyard service. There's a whole bunch of kids in here with their parents and grandparents and their families, and it's energetic and fun, but very noisy. So bring your kids. Bring any kids that you see and find out there. They will love it. 6 and 8 o'clock are contemporary Christmas Eve services, and our 10 o'clock is a traditional with communion. So make sure that you schedule that. Be here for one of those. If you really love us, you'll be here for two. Just saying.
We celebrate the coming of Christ with the lighting of the Advent candles.
We are a people of hope, a people of peace, a people of joy, and a people of love. At first there was a frail light of a single candle of hope, darting to pierce through the darkness of despair.
Today we light the candle of love. For God so loved the world that a child was given. A Savior came in the form of love incarnate, and love was allowed to live on.
Let's thank the Hinn family for lighting the Advent candles. Very cool, very cool. We want to take a moment and welcome all the virtual members of Columbine United Church. It is so great to have you with us, those of you who are joining us from, some of you who are up skiing today and are tying in with us tonight. Good to have you here. But also those of you from across the country and some of you on the other side of the pond, it's great to have you here. You know, the fourth Sunday of Advent is such a special Sunday, a great message, a great time to think about what does Christmas mean. And that's why I want you to do more than just watch this video. I want you to think about who needs to hear this message, and I want you to send it to them. I want you to put it on your Facebook page and tell people, this is what I believe, and invite other people to join you as well. It is great to have you with us. Let's give all of them a warm Columbine welcome. My remote, very good, very good. Our scripture passage this morning comes to us from the Gospel according to Luke, the first chapter. Mitch, am I driving or are you driving this? I'm driving. We got to make sure who's driving the bus. You know, heaven help us if both of us take the hands off the wheel at the same time. It comes to us from Luke's the first chapter. In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a town in Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin engaged to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary. And he came to her and said, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you." But she was much perplexed by his words and pondered what sort of greeting this might be. The angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And now you will," and here the reading ends, and may God bless these words as we seek to apply them to our lives. That should pique your interest. I mean, you know what happens, right? And now you will, but hang with me. I want to begin this morning, but I want you to think about the last time you saw something magnificent. Just think for a second. When was the last time you saw something magnificent? Now think about this. When was the last time that you were magnificent? When was the last time that we're supposed to be humble and not really boast or brag, but you did something and you kind of went, Maybe for a few of you, it was Thanksgiving dinner, right? That dinner that you've been cooking for two days, and before everybody dove into it and finishes it in five minutes. That's what I can't stand about Thanksgiving. But while the table was set, and everybody walks in and they go, "Oh, it smells so good in here." And you went, "I'm magnificent." When was the last time you were magnificent? One of the things, I'm someone who, I love the etymology of words. And I love this word magnificent. Magnificent, let me just kind of tear it apart for you. Magnificent comes from, first of all, the Greek term megla, which is where you get the word megalomaniac, which means a hugeness, a hugeness. And so from megla, we get magna, and where we get the word magnify, to make big, magnify. Magna, and then you pay attention to the suffix, I-C-I-E-N-T, shunt, and that is, hang with me, third person, plural, future active, of the Latin, ischio, which means to stab, to gasp, which is perfect. Because when you see something that is magnificent, do you not go, and you see something that is so amazing that you're making big, So when we think about it, when was the last time you saw that? Or when was the last time you were that? Because my challenge for you today, there's just the one message that I want you to walk out of here today, is magnificent. Because if you understand what is magnificent and how it applies to you, you understand the message of the angel. You understand not just the message of the angel, you understand the message of Christmas. And you not just understand the message of Christmas, you understand the message of God to all of humanity. Welcome to this fourth Sunday of Advent. I just love Advent. Growing up as a kid, we always lit the Advent candles. When I watch all the different families come forward, it was a powerful thing to see all these different candles lit. And I've had so much fun with our Advent preaching series, Advent Dreams and Visions, because we think that the birth of the baby Jesus just happened. But no, it really happened because it was dependent upon people, human beings, hearing the message of angels, that came to them in the midst of visions or dreams. And they had to act upon these crazy dreams and visions. And so on the first Sunday of Advent, we talked about Joseph and Zechariah, two people who responded very differently. And then Justin, on the second Sunday of Advent, talked about that these people were just average people in the midst of really horrific times, and yet they had the ability to respond. Last week I talked about angels and how that we are all surrounded by angels. And just as angel Gabriel appeared to Mary, our lives are surrounded with angels. And I challenge you to think about angels. So today I want you to think about, what is the message? What is the message that the angels gave? And in this one little verse that I read, this message is the entire biblical message. So I want to tear it apart. Let's begin with the very first words that Gabriel says to Mary. He says, "Greetings, favored one." I love that. Greetings, favored one. Isn't it beautiful? And I really believe that, that when was the last time you looked at your spouse and said, "Greetings, favored one"? I'm waiting for an answer.
This morning.
This morning. Don't lie to your minister. I think we take so much for granted about life. And for me, the reason why Gabriel says this to Mary is because he wants to tell Mary that she's favored, that she's beautiful in God's eyes, she's magnificent. She said, from God. And the powerful thing for me about the gospel message is that it's just not Mary who's this way. That God looks at each and every one of us and goes, Because, what's so powerful about this is that that's not the message that we get out in the world. We don't get that from our bosses. You've been working hard this entire quarter. And you go in and suddenly your boss calls you into your office and you go, you really just haven't measured up this quarter. We're putting on you on probation. Raising kids is hard. Being a parent is hard. Being a spouse is difficult. You're going down the road and people are flipping you off. I mean, it's just hard. You don't get the message that you are magnificent until you get the message that you're a mess. And then the Christianity doesn't help. You're a sinner. You're broken. You need to be saved. And that's not the message. That's not the message. The message is that you are magnificent. In fact, in the book of Ephesians, the author says, and I quote, "We are God's masterpiece." God's masterpiece. We are God's masterpiece. Now, I know some of you are going to get tired of me talking about Italy. But if you've ever been in Italy, and if you've ever been in the Vatican, and if you've ever been in St. Peter's Basilica, and you come around the corner and you see Michelangelo's Pietà, you know what you do? You go, that is magnificent. And you just can't help but stare. And then if you go to Florence and you go to the La Accademia, and you see all these amazing pieces of art, and they tell you that the David is just around the corner, and so you wait and you kind of like, and you turn and you go around the corner and you see the giant, and he's giant. You go, that is magnificent. And you just want to walk around and look at this beautiful statue. See, and that's how God feels about us. God just wants to look at you and look at you and marvel at your beauty and say, you are magnificent. I often wonder how our lives would change if we were really able to get into touch with how God really looks at us. I mean, just think about how would your relationship with your children changed if you said to them, you are magnificent. Because we rarely do that. We get caught up in the fact that that they're crazy kids and there's so much to do but when they're not looking, moms and dads and grandma and grandpas, do you not just find yourself staring at your kids? Even teenagers are magnificent until they open their mouth, of course, but why do we stare at them? In fact, I remember my Mima and Papa, when I'd go over to the house to spend the weekend with them, I'd be eating, all of a sudden look at, and they'd be staring at me like, oh, Kai, you're freaking me out. Stop it. And they would say, oh, but you're so precious. And you don't get that until you have your own kids. And then you're reminded of it when you have your own grandkids. Well, why don't we constantly remind them, oh, magnificent one, have you done your homework today? And kids, there's some of you here. We take for granted that our parents are always going to be here. They're always going to be here. How would your relationship with your parents change if when you busted in the door at home and they said, oh, favored one, how was your day? Instead of you going, there's another day. You said to your parents, oh, magnificent one, thank you for providing me shelter and a refrigerator full of food and a warm bed. Thank you, magnificent one. It was just like yesterday school was. But we lose that. Look, a string of days, one after the other. And so we always think that our kids will come busting in, and that our parents will always be there. Until something happens. And we realize how fragile life is. And we are remembered to never take it for granted. Because life is so magnificent. The angel says to Mary, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you." I love that slide. Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you. You know, that too is the Christmas message. You know, that with the birth of Jesus, we say that the power of God is brought into the middle of the world. That's why we say that that he shall be called Emmanuel, which means God is with us. That even though God is out on the far edges of the cosmos, that God is busy creating new galaxies and wormholes and black holes and parallel universes. And out there, God is out there, yet God is right there. Don't look so surprised. You are magnificent. Remind him of that. He looks like me. God is amazing. You know, it's really funny. So that song that we sang, O come, Emmanuel. It's kind of like, O come, the one who is already with us. God is already with you. And you have to ask yourself, well, then what is the impact of the God who's already with us? See, the impact of the God who's already with us is that it's empowering. That God is with you in the midst of your life for you to do something. You've been sent into the world. You've been sent to soar. That would make a great title of a book, don't you think? You have been sent to do something. What is it? What is the magnificent thing that you are doing with your life? Because, you know, God's waiting. That's why I stopped at the scripture passage. And now you will do what? What are you going to do with your life? You know, I love this passage from the Sistine Chapel. Actually, so this is the creation, but there were no scissors and strings in the original. Somebody put those on for this painting, but I love it. Because what it symbolizes is that, Adam, you're not a puppet. You have to take responsibility for your life. I'm waiting to see what you're going to do. I've created you. I've given you all different kinds of skills and abilities. But really, it's up to you to decide what it is that you're going to do. And this is what I love about this, is that you get to decide what is magnificent. You get to decide what it is that is magnificent that you're going to do. And the whole world is going to wait to see what it is that you are going to create. And no one gets to tell you that you have to do this. No, you get to decide. I am going to take a magnificent nap. I am going to go on a magnificent walk. I am going to be a magnificent parent. I will become a magnificent spouse. So you get to decide that. But the key is, you have to decide it. You have to go for it. Instead of just looking at, well, I've just got a string of days and every day is just a repeat of yesterday and it's an ordinary day. No, the sun came up today. And when Justin woke up, it was already light. No, Mitch and I woke up and it was the middle of the night. And when he said that, where is Mitch? Is Mitch in here? Mitch and I, we were laughing. I know he was laughing because it's like, no, it was dark when I got up. What are you doing getting up this late? But it's a beautiful day. It is magnificent. You know, so for me, what I want you to think about is where do you look for the magnificent. The magnificent always begins within you. You're not going to find anything magnificent out there until you realize that you are magnificent. And the magnificent, when you see it here, it begins to shine. But you have to first look within. It has to become your identity. It has to become your worldview. It has to become your vision that life is magnificent. I'm going to show you 4 pictures from some of the great masters about the nativity, paintings of the nativity. And there's something very unique about these 4 paintings. And I want you to see if you can figure out what it is that is unique about these 4 paintings. And if you see it, don't blurt it out. I will check in with you after the 4th. So, Mike, turn off all the lights for me, please. Just look. So what is unique? What is unique about these 4 paintings? Who has it figured out? Yes? The baby is lit up. Where is the light coming from? From the baby. From the baby. So many other paintings, the light is this way. But in these paintings, the light is coming out. The light is radiating out. So let's take a look at these again. I mean, I love this first one. Look at the woman in the back. It's like, oh, Jesus, turn it down. She's like, oh, my gosh, come on. You're blinding everybody. And this next one, look at the child is glowing so much that all of their faces are radiating. If the light was coming from outside them, it would be shining on the backs of their heads. Instead, it was literally radiating out from the child. Again, the baby is so bright there that the other people are they actually can almost see the baby. And then this is my favorite. I just love this one. Look at the smile on the shepherds on the side. And Mary is holding back the blanket saying, look how beautiful. And they're looking down and saying, they're going, See, I believe that's how we are. That we should be like that baby. Shining. And that we should remind people. We should be like Mary going, ta-da! Look how beautiful you are. Because in the same way that we forget it, I guarantee you, your neighbor doesn't know it. But they are magnificent. You need to glow. I had a magnificent moment yesterday. I performed the wedding for Joseph and Lindsay Adamski. And Joseph and Lindsay, and I usually don't do weddings this weekend. I'm a little busy. But Joseph is in the Navy, Special Forces, and he's home for the weekend, home for these week and a half from Afghanistan. And he's going to be redeployed the week after Christmas. And he said, I'm just home this time. Would you please do our wedding? I said, of course. And so we were over at the Heritage Square. And Joseph was standing there in his navy blues. And the poor young man at 25, he could barely stand up because of the weight of his medals. Medal after medal of valor. He has saved more people's lives. And he has risked his own life. And so he's standing there, at attention. And his father, who is his best man, is standing right up at his shoulder, kind of proud papa. Right? And we're waiting for that moment, right? That expectant moment when the bride and her father comes around the corner and the music is playing and she comes around the corner and Joseph and he can't stand that attention anymore. And she is crying. And the dad is crying. And Joseph and his medals tear up. Dad is beaming. And I'm going, this is magnificent. And they come down and we do the ceremony, and they had written their own vows. And so I said, please take out the vows. And Joseph takes out these 4 wrinkled little pieces of paper that he had just wadded up because he was so nervous. And she took out the same, her paper was literally just wrinkled, and it was soaked from tears. And they stood there and they exchanged their vows. And you know how it is when people, they can't talk because they're crying. It was one of those moments. And then I challenged everybody to do the magnificent. For we all know what was going to happen to this couple. And they're coming on Christmas Eve. And if you see them, I want you to give them both a huge hug. Because he's going to be deployed as a very special force into the most dangerous place in our globe right now. And I charge them to do the magnificent. And that is to pray and to love. Because you see, it really is that simple. The magnificent is to pray and to love. And my challenge to you is for the next 3 days, I want you to practice looking for the magnificent. And I want you to practice being magnificent. So when we come back together on Christmas Eve and we sing carols and then we light candles and sing Silent Night and we raise those candles high, you will be ready to look around and say, this night is magnificent.